Hi everyone, I'm Ankita on behalf of Multi-Cloud for You, your host today. Good morning and good evening, everyone. So, welcome to our e-session today on hybrid and multi-cloud with Google Cloud by our speaker Abhishek Sharma. Before we begin, let's take a brief tour about what is fifth IR and how it's going to help us. So fifth IR stands for Fifth Industrial Revolution. We are the initiative by Multi-Cloud for You Technologies, which help the companies and technologies to openly share their learnings and get the opportunities worldwide through each other as well as through our partners. Uh, how we are growing. So till now, we have conducted around 1,093 sessions. There are 375 speakers which are enrolled associated with us, around 27,142 members associated with us. These are some of our master mentors. We are also associated with Alibaba Google Cloud Academy partner, as you can see here. Now, how this fifth IR is going to help us. This will help you in building your knowledge, digital presence, know about your industries, what jobs are we getting. We have different events, and with every event, we have a free certification also. This will help you in your future. Now, after this session, how you can claim your certificate? You need to go to the Fifth IR portal, which the link we have provided, and we will be providing between the session as well. Now you can click on claim certifications. There will be you will be asked to put a secret code there. So this secret code will be provided to you at the end of the session. Secret certifications. Now this is the overview, like how you will get your certificates, how will be granted. This Multi-Cloud for You Academy will be the issuer. Now, not wasting much of your time, I would like to invite Abhishek Sharma, our speaker. He is a cloud engineer. He is Google Cloud certified professional. He is a Google Cloud champion innovator. He has a good knowledge in IoT, ML, hybrid, multi-cloud, and many more. So let's welcome Abhishek. Abhishek, over to you now.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, hey, hi everyone. Okay. Okay. So let me share my screen and then we'll start. Okay. My screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Cool. My video is also on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, hi everyone. Thank you for a brief introduction about myself. So, without any delay, let's start with hybrid or multi-cloud using Google Cloud Platform. So this is little bit brief about myself. Who am I? We already discussed about I am a champions innovator in hybrid or multi-cloud. Also working as a cloud engineer at Sears, which is Google Cloud Premier Partner. So we more work on Google Cloud technologies. Also, I am a certified professional cloud architect and a Google Cloud mentor. So I help students, some professionals to start their career into the cloud using Google Cloud Platform. So I also have one YouTube channel where uh, we upload lots of videos related to cloud and DevOps technology. So if you want to explore more details related to what are the videos we have, what are the learning contents we have over there, then you can just search for Guys in the Cloud in YouTube. You can see the content. Also, I write blogs day to day. So if you want to explore blogs, I highly suggest go with it. At the end of this particular session, I will walk through one of my blog, which is related to Anthos itself. So yeah, so without any delay, let's start with agenda. So, as I already know that we have a mixed crowd here, right? So, we'll start from a very base. First, we'll see what is hybrid or multi cloud, and then we'll see why hybrid or multi cloud is required, and then we'll see what are the challenges we face while implementing this kind of technology. Because nowadays, everyone is like, we wanted to implement hybrid or multi cloud in our architecture, but most of the clients, most of the organizations are not in this particular space. Then why? There are some specific challenges are over there which they can't able to overcome, and due to that, most of the organizations are not having hybrid or multi-cloud set in their own infrastructure. Then we'll see Anthos as a solution to those challenges, and we'll also explore some of the features which Anthos is providing, which will help you set up this kind of hybrid or multi-cloud. Then at the end, I will provide some of the learning resources to you so that you can start exploring this particular technology. So without any delay, let's start. If you feel that you have some questions, meanwhile, just make a note of this. At the end, we have a Q&A session. So in that particular Q&A session, you can ask those queries. So let's start with what is hybrid and multi-cloud. I think some of you are already familiar with this particular term called hybrid or multi-cloud. So let's suppose I am having my own data center, and if I integrate that particular data center workload with different cloud platform, combinedly this particular setup is called as hybrid cloud. Also, if you integrate different cloud platforms and create your heterogeneous kind of infrastructure, this is also called as multi-cloud. So let's suppose I am having some workloads in AWS, some workloads in Google Cloud, and some workload in Azure. Then this particular setup is called as multi-cloud setup. So let's see why hybrid and multi-cloud is required, why we are talking about this particular topic. And if you just go and explore this particular technology and search for this particular term in Google itself, you will find that there are lots of terms, terminologies, lots of concepts, advantages and disadvantages are mentioned over there. So nowadays, this particular technology, this particular term is booming. So let's see why this particular technology is booming. So if we talk about infrastructure cost, so let's suppose I want to set up a end-to-end workload in my on premises, then I have to buy lots of CPU, memory, hardware capacity, and then I have to do the networking stuffs. Then I have to manage the land, then their security, networking, and all the stuffs. Then I can able to host my own application and provide that particular application to the end user. But if I use cloud, right, then it is something like a pay as you go model. You just go provision your resources, and you just need to pay for that particular time or that particular resource which you are going to consume. So this is very cheaper way, rather than entirely setting up the whole end-to-end stack in your on premises, from buying a laptop or hardware to setting up the networking and security stuffs. So let's suppose you already invested lots of money in your hardware. So you have your own data center. But as soon as your application is growing, that particular hardware is not that much capable to handle the traffic, handle the requirement which is coming nowadays in your application. So in that particular case, either you need to integrate different cloud options, or you have to invest more money into the hardware so that you can expand your memory and CPU power. But nowadays no one is wanted to invest more money into their hardware part. They just wanted to utilize cloud offerings, pay as you go model, so that they can leverage both of the stack at the same time. So this is one of the reason why we need hybrid and multi cloud. Second option is that no vendor lock-in. So most of the time what happens, and as we like our RBI is also concerned this particular thing, that you should not have your ads into one bucket. So let's suppose if I am having my entire stack in one of the cloud, so let's suppose AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, and sometime after some time, if government announces that we just wanted to ban this particular cloud, then what? Your entire infrastructure goes down. So this is the situation, and you can also assume that if your entire stack get into this particular situation, your users, for your users and your for employees, this is a big disaster. So no one wants to add their entire infrastructure into one particular cloud platform. So let's suppose some of the organizations are using their data part into AWS, application part into Google Cloud, and some other DevOps or infrastructure as code part in the Azure cloud. So that whenever there is some situation like some specific cloud is get banned, then we just need to migrate a single part of our application, so your other or rest of the part of your application get like there is no like impact on the other parts of your application. You just need to migrate a single component, a single part which is present in a specific cloud. So this is why people want this kind of architecture, so that there is no vendor lock-in kind of situation. Also, if you see every cloud platform, if I just go to AWS, their services are very cheaper as compared to other cloud platforms in some specific service requirement. So every cloud platform is having their own specification or specialization. So if you want to utilize the best from different cloud platform, you need to use this kind of architecture where you can leverage different cloud platform in the same way or at the same time, so that you can utilize the best from different cloud platform. Also every cloud platform is having their different kind of integrations and APIs available in their cloud platform. So let's suppose in previous days we heard about this particular thing, that ChatGPT is tightly coupled with Azure cloud. So in my architecture, if I want to utilize ChatGPT, I need to integrate AWS cloud with my cloud infrastructure, and that infrastructure is called as hybrid or multi-cloud. So if you want to leverage this kind of technology, you should use this kind of concept. So this is why we should use hybrid or multi-cloud. So there are lots of advantages we already see, right? But after these advantages, why most of the organizations are not utilizing this particular technology in their infrastructure? Because I just heard about one survey in 2017 in which I think IDG is the organization. They have done one survey in which they have introduced this particular data, that only 10% of the organization from the entire workload which is present in the cloud or on premises are moved to this kind of architecture. So you can see still 90% workloads are utilizing either one on premises or either any of the cloud. They are not using this kind of architecture. Only 10% are organizations are over there who are utilizing this particular technology. So there are lots of challenges we have due to this. We are not in that particular state that everyone should use this particular technology. So before moving to challenges, let's discuss about one of the core key concept of today's technological advancement. So nowadays, if you see, everyone wants to leverage microservice based architecture in the modern technology. There are very few use cases in which people are wanted to use monolith kind of architecture. I'm not saying that microservice is best, monolith is best. Everyone is having their own specification, own use cases. But nowadays, whenever people are over there who wanted to create some kind of application or wanted to host their application into the cloud, they just wanted to use the microservice based architecture. But there are some specific use cases like the call booking. Let's suppose there are some use cases, suppose uh, brokerage, or what we can say, there is stock marketing, something like that. Those kind of scenarios, we need to make sure that our application latency is very less, because latency is the critical part in this kind of use cases. If you just missed by 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, or 4 second, your ticket is not booked in Tatkal booking, right? Because there should be very low latency. In this kind of use cases, you need to use the monolith kind of architecture where latency is critical. But if you want to have some what we can say delivery kind of scenario, where you are having some India Post kind of application, where your user come to your application, track the uh, parcel where it is, wanted to book a parcel or something like that. So in that case, you can able to leverage the microservice based architecture. So both of the architecture are very amazing, and both of them are having their own use cases. But in modern architecture, most of the people are utilizing microservice based architecture. And if you have this kind of architecture in your organization, then Kubernetes is one of the best tool for this kind of application. And if you talk about best Kubernetes offering in present time, then Google's Kubernetes engine is one of the best offering we all know, right? So if you just go and explore this particular term, that this particular Kubernetes managed Kubernetes offering is best, then Google is in the top. So if you talk about the challenges of hybrid and multi-cloud, so as we already discussed that nowadays everyone is wanted to utilize microservice based architecture. So while adopting this kind of architecture, if you go back to previous 5 years or 10 years ago, everyone was more legacy peoples. They just wanted to create application based on micro monolith kind of architecture, because there was no such tools available like Kubernetes, right, Docker or something like that. So everyone has to develop their application based on monolith kind of architecture. So in that particular case, if you want to transform or migrate your existing monolith application to the microservice based architecture, it's a very tedious task. Also, you should think about uh, whenever you develop any application, you develop your application in a way that you should run this particular application in this particular way. So based on that particular thinking, you develop any application, and most of the legacy applications are already built using that particular mindset, and they are monolith kind of application. So no one is that much capable to transform that particular application into end-to-end microservice based uh, solution. So this is one of the challenge people or organizations are having. Due to that, they are not able to adopt this particular technology. Also, their applications are not that much compatible to adopt this kind of heterogeneous environment. Second thing, that is also one more concern is over there, that observability. So if I set up my hybrid or multi-cloud environment in AWS, GCP, and Azure, so how I am gonna monitor this particular heterogeneous environment? If something goes down in this particular environment, then how I can get to know that particular thing, that in this particular environment we have the issue, or in this particular environment we have the issue, just go and troubleshoot. Also, we require someone who is capable of handling this heterogeneous environment, because nowadays people are more skilled in any of the cloud platform. They are expert in AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. So we require someone who can able to handle this kind of scenario, who is capable of troubleshooting this particular heterogeneous stack. So this is one of the issue of observability. Also, if I want to deploy any application in this kind of environment, there is a issue of security. How API will communicate with each other. Whenever there is some rollout, there is some new changes, then using the best practices, how these rollout are gonna spread between different cloud platform. So security is also one of the more concern. Due to that, people are not able to adopt this kind of technology. And I already discussed about last point that companies engineers are not that much familiar with this heterogeneous kind of environment. That's why this is the problem. Because of that, people can't able to adopt this hybrid or multi-cloud. So there are lots of challenges. I just listed out few of them. So you can just search on Google that what are the challenges we have with hybrid or multi-cloud. You will get list of problems or challenges we have while setting up this kind of environment. So let's see Google Cloud Anthos, a solution for hybrid or multi-cloud space. How it is solving problems related to whatever issues we have related to hybrid or multi-cloud. How this particular tool is helping us to troubleshoot those particular problems. So if you see the entire stack of Google Cloud Anthos, this is very resemblance with our end-to-end stack present in on-premises. So let's suppose I want to deploy my application into on-premises. What I have actually, I just have an infrastructure layer in which I just deploy hardware, machines, or virtualization softwares or something like that. On top of that, I deploy an infrastructure management layer using which I manage my infrastructure in which my applications are gonna stored. And on top of that, I deploy some service management tools so that I can configure the networking. On top of that, I enforce the policy so that I can control what kind of traffic will goes to my network, goes to my workload, and who can able to access. On top of that, we develop some kind of observability tool or integrate some observability tool so that we can able to see that what is happening behind the scene inside my application, so that whenever there is some issue in my application, I can directly just go and troubleshoot that particular problem very easily. Also, we need to make sure that we need to understand what are the hardware consumption we have, what are the networking issues we have inside my application, so that based on that particular metric, that particular data, I can able to tune my application, right? And in this way, I can able to provide an end-to-end solution to the end user. So in the same manner, Google Cloud Anthos is also created their own stacks based on these layers. So let's suppose whenever you want to deploy your application, you need an infrastructure in which you deploy your application. So for that, at the infrastructure layer, we have Anthos clusters. We'll discuss what is Anthos clusters. On top of that, we have cluster management layer. So we just have one console from which we can able to manage our Anthos clusters, which is assume Anthos clusters as a managed Kubernetes offering in which your application is going to run. On top of that, we have Anthos service mesh. So if you ever heard about Istio, a open source project, and I think recently Google open sourced this particular project called Istio to CNCF, and that's managed version is called as Anthos service mesh in Google Cloud Anthos. So this will help you set up your uh, end-to-end microservice based architecture topology. It will help you configure the networking. It will also help you enforce the security in between your clusters. So this is one of the great tool actually. On top of that, If you want to enforce some kind of policy so that you can control your cluster, control your workloads, then Google Cloud Anthos config management tool is the one which will help you achieve this particular goal. So we'll discuss in more detail this particular tool. So at the policy enforcement level layer, we have this particular feature, and on top of that, Google is already having their own observability stack, which is Stack Driver, tightly coupled with this particular technology called Google Cloud Anthos, which will give you some insights related to what is happening behind the scene inside your cluster. Is there any error? What is the CPU memory consumption your cluster is having? If there are some errors, you can set up the alert so that you can easily control or react to a specific incidents. Also, on top of that, there are variety of options available using which you can deploy your application. So whatever stack you use in your on premises, in the same manner, Google Cloud Anthos is also having each and every having different offerings in each and every layers, which will help you achieve the same use case in this particular hybrid or multi-cloud space. So let's talk more about features of Anthos. So I already discussed about there are lots of features available: Anthos service mesh, config management, Anthos clusters. Then what is the use case of each and every feature and how it will be helpful in setting up hybrid or multi-cloud? So in the previous slide, we discussed about challenges we have while setting up hybrid and multi-cloud. So let's take an example of each and every problem, each and every challenge we have in the previous slide, and let's see what are the features we have in Anthos which are addressing those challenges. So first challenge we had. So if I just go back, if you see, it is a challenge to make their application and existing infrastructure flexible to adopt this heterogeneous environment. So this was the first problem in the previous slide. So Google Cloud Anthos is having two features in their bucket, which will help you overcome this particular challenge. So if you see here, we have migrate for Anthos. So I already talked about that most of the application in the previous days are created, are uh, like built in the thought that they are gonna run on a specific monolith kind of hardware or monolith kind of offering, right? So nowadays microservice is booming and every organization is wanted to utilize this particular architecture in their application, right? But it is a tedious task that how you can convert a monolith application into a microservice. So for doing this particular activity, Migrate for Anthos is the tool which will help you achieve this particular tool. So you just need to utilize this particular offering in your existing VM based workload. It will automatically create Docker file and convert it your monolith application into microservice. So this is one of the amazing tool. I haven't explored this particular thing, but I just read about it and saw some blogs related to the same, that how you can convert your monolith kind of application into a microservice using this particular tool. Also, we have GKE on-prem or on-THOS cluster. So if we talk about managed Kubernetes offering across the different cloud platform, Google's Kubernetes engine is one of the best cloud Kubernetes offering in all the cloud platforms, right? So if you want to leverage the same kind of offering, same kind of managed Kubernetes offering in different cloud platform, then Google Cloud Anthos will help you achieve this particular goal, because Google's managed Kubernetes engine comes with lots of features, like it is already having auto scaling capability, it is also having auto repair capability, it will help it is also having some auto upgrade feature enabled in it, which is present with some specific channel, so that there is no impact on your workload, right? So there are lots of features available with manage Google Kubernetes engine, so you can utilize the same offering which we use in Google Cloud in other Google Cloud platforms. So let's suppose if you want to use the Google Kubernetes engine in AWS, you can able to achieve this. If you want to use the same offering in on premises or Azure, you can able to use, you just need to install the Anthos clusters, which is behind the same Google Kubernetes engine, and you can leverage whatever manage offering we have with Google Kubernetes engine in other cloud platforms. So this is how Google Cloud Anthos addresses first problem, first challenge we had while discussing about uh, like different challenges while setting up hybrid and multi-cloud. Second problem we discussed in the previous slide, that how we can observe the end-to-end stack which is present in this heterogeneous environment. Like some part of my application stack is present in AWS, some part in Google Cloud, and some part in Azure. Then how I can set up a unified monitoring across the platform? Then in Google Cloud Anthos, we have one feature called Anthos Service Mesh, which will help you set up topology of your heterogeneous environment in a unified dashboard called Anthos Service Mesh dashboard under Google Cloud Anthos in Google Cloud. So using this particular feature, you can able to set up the topology, how your microservices which is present in different environment are communicating with each other, what is the latency between two different pods, and how they are communicating. If there are some issue, then it will help you understand by using some matrices like error rate and some specific error codes metric. So this will help you understand that what is exactly happening behind the scene in this kind of heterogeneous environment for you. And then after, we also have one feature called Anthos config management. So this is more like a managed version of Argo CD plus your OPA, say open policy agent. So if you ever created any CI/CD pipeline for your uh, Kubernetes workload, then you must use Argo CD for that, right? So that you can deploy your workloads inside a specific cluster using Argo CD. So this is the managed version of Argo CD with hybrid or multi-cloud capability. Using this particular feature, you can able to deploy your workloads across the platform. So let's suppose I want to deploy some workloads in AWS cloud. I can able to do it using this particular feature. So whenever there is some git push, automatically it will like face that particular changes and roll out those changes to a specific cloud, which I'm gonna mention in my repository. So this is how, using this particular feature, you can deploy your application across the platforms. Also, this will help you enforce the policies inside your cluster. So let's suppose I am having three clusters. Production one is present in Google Cloud. Your staging environment is present in AWS, and your development environment is present in Azure. So inside your production environment, you don't want that no one from the developers team can able to log into that particular cluster and deploy any kind of service in that particular cluster. So in this particular use case, you can able to enforce this policy that these are the users we have in our organization can only able to access this particular cluster, and no one from this particular list can able to access this cluster. So these kind of policies, using open policy agent, you can able to enforce using this feature called Anthos config management. So this will help you uh, achieve two use cases. One is setting up CI/CD. Second one is enforcing the policies. After that, in the third part, we have one more problem called companies engineers are not that much familiar with cloud, because most of the organizations are using their own premises. So they are legacy peoples, right? They don't know how to use cloud. like how to use cloud resources in a very precise manner, then Google Cloud Anthos comes with a simpler UI. You just need to go to the console. There are few clicks and you can able to achieve the use cases whatever I am discussing, right? So there are variety of services here. You can able to see that we have service mesh feature, which we already discussed, Anthos config management, then policy enforcement is also there, right? A cloud run for Anthos is also over there. So there are variety of services which are available here inside the console. So you just know you just need to go to this particular console, click a few clicks, and then you are good to go. So there is no such requirement that your engineers are not that much familiar with cloud, then how they can able to uh, utilize these particular technology into their stack. So this is very easy to use. So this is all about Google Cloud Anthos. If you want to explore more this particular technology, so I already have started one series called Google Cloud Anthos series, right? You can just check them out where I have listed all the features and their use cases, and where you can utilize those use cases in your organizational requirement. Then I highly suggest just go with that particular blog. So there are variety of services available, so you can able to utilize. So for that particular thing, these are some of the learning resources I highly suggest. Go with these resources. I will provide all the learning contents after this particular session. And before doing that, let me share that particular blog so that you can go through it. So this is the series, Google Cloud Anthos series, Introduction to Google Cloud Anthos. So here I have listed out all the challenges and whatever we discussed, I already mentioned here. And after that, I have mentioned different Google Cloud features and their use cases, benefits and use cases. Yeah, this is one more great feature actually. So let's suppose if you have set up a multi-cloud environment for your infrastructure, and one cluster is present in AWS, one cluster is present in Google Cloud, then how you can distribute the traffic in between both the clusters, right? So let's suppose just wanted to build a DR for my entire infrastructure, right? And so in this particular case, you can able to route the traffic in between two different clusters using this features called multi-cluster ingress. So this is one of the great feature and use case you can utilize for your organization. I already discussed about Anthos Service Mesh. This will help you traffic management, observability insights, and security benefit. So if you ever work with Istio, Istio gives you flexibility of mutual TLS so that you can enforce the policy in between two pods. So let's suppose inside my cluster, my two pods are over there, and I just want those two pods will communicate via HTTPS traffic so that my entire pipeline will be secured, right? So using Google Cloud Anthos Service Mesh, you can able to enforce that policy via mutual TLS. So these are the flexibility we have. Also, Google Cloud logging and monitoring service is tightly coupled with Anthos Service Mesh or Google Cloud Anthos. So you can leverage this particular technology so that you can able to get the insights what is happening behind the scene inside your application, or you can easily able to troubleshoot whatever issues you have related to this heterogeneous environment. So these are some of the use cases and benefits. After that, I already discussed about Anthos config management. This will help you set up CI/CD. So in the CI/CD part, you can able to leverage whatever you want. So normally, what happens whenever you want to deploy any workload in Kubernetes, either you use help, either you use YAML files, either you use customize. So you can leverage all the configuration files, all the methods using this particular feature called Anthos config management. Also, this will help you enforce the policy via OPA. So these are some of the use cases. And this is one of the great feature to convert your monolith based workloads into microservices. So these are the some of the base use cases. And after that, this is the cloud run for Anthos. So let's suppose if you want to develop a single microservices or APIs in your cloud infrastructure, then you can leverage this particular technology to host that particular application very seamlessly. And behind the scene, our Knative is over there, which is I think Google Cloud Project itself uh, behind the scene. And after that, Google is also having their authorization features, so you can leverage this particular binary authorization feature to implement zero trust policies in your end-to-end stack. Also, this will come with cloud marketplace integration. So there are lots of solutions available related to different stack. So you can just go and search for that particular solution. You will find that uh, there are variety of options available. Just few clicks and that particular solution is up and running in your cloud infrastructure. So this is the blog. I highly recommend just go through this particular blog so that you can get insight. What are the services? What are the features we have with Google Cloud Anthos? And after that, its second blog is related to how you can set up multi-cloud between AWS and Google Cloud. So I'm quickly sharing my entire window and show you how I have set up, and we'll see live action of Anthos. So let me share my screen. Can somebody just confirm once my screen is visible? Yeah,
Yeah, it's visible.
cool. So if I just go here, okay, let's reconnect it. Okay, so this is my Google Cloud project. Okay, and this is my AWS project where I have created one EKS cluster called Anthos on EKS demo cluster. So this is normalized cluster you have in your AWS environment, right? Where I have created this particular cluster, added some nodes, and I'm running my workload in this particular cluster. Now, what I have done, I have registered this particular cluster inside my Google Cloud Anthos so that I can able to manage this particular cluster from my AWS, from my Google Cloud environment. So if you just go here, sorry, okay, just authorize it. Cool. So if I just go here and click on Anthos overview, I will share one more blog where I have explained how I have registered this particular thing to here. So if I just go to clusters, so in the overview page, if you see here, this will give you a high level overview of what is happening in your heterogeneous environment. So this will give you how many clusters are registered to this particular fleet. So fleet is basically Google Cloud Management Platform from where you can able to manage your clusters across the platform. So whenever if you want to manage your cluster, which is present in different environments, you need to register that particular cluster to a specific fleet. So this is my fleet in which I have registered my cluster, which is present in AWS environment. So this is showing total CPU utilization, total memory utilization, total disk utilization. So currently I'm not having any workload in that particular cluster. This is just a raw cluster. But in normalized case, you should have some workloads over there, which are running, serving some application parts to the end user. So this particular dashboard will help you understand high level overview of different clusters which are associated with this particular fleet. Okay, this is also giving some warning that there is no policy control, so using Anthos config management I need to enforce that particular policy. So if I just click on view all clusters, or I can just click here this cluster part, it will show you description of the clusters which is associated with this particular fleet. So here you can see the same cluster which is present in my AWS environment, Anthos on EKS demo cluster, I have registered here. It is also showing that this is attached EKS cluster, okay, and some information related to this particular cluster. So you can add different clusters from different environments to this particular Anthos plate, and you can manage those things from here. So if I just click here, you can able to see that this is the EKS cluster. This is the version which I have deployed. So if I just go here, you can able to see this is the version, Kubernetes version, and it is also showing here that this is from 1.27. This is having cluster size 2 nodes, which is present in this particular location, and this is the memory and CPU information. And after that, I talked about lots of features present in Anthos, like service mesh, Anthos config management, Cloud Run for Anthos, and other features, right? So you can able to manage those features from this particular location. Just click on manage features. It will redirect you to feature management section, and from here you can just click on enable thing, and you can able to enable that feature. But some of the cases you should run some commands from your command line tool so that you can install the dependency on your cluster, and then after it will able to serve that particular feature. Okay, so this is the thing. Let's go back. Okay, so now let's see one thing. So currently I'm having no workloads in my AWS cluster, so I will show you. So if I just go here, click on resources, if I just click on pods, right? So these are the default ports in the default namespace. I'm going to deploy one workload in this particular default namespace from Google Cloud. Okay. So currently there is no workload in this particular namespace called default. So now I am going to deploy one sample deployment in this particular namespace from Google Cloud. Also, I will expose that particular pod via a load balancer kind of service. So if I just go here in the default section, there is only one service of Kubernetes. So I'm just going to deploy this particular service as well. So let's go back to our Google Cloud Console, go to GKE. So if you ever worked with Google Kubernetes engine, right? Uh, this will give you a flexibility that you can able to deploy your workloads from either using kubectl command, either using some APIs, either using GUI method. So I am going to show you GUI method in the demo. You can utilize kubectl or API, whatever you want. So you can able to do it. So if I just go to the workloads, okay, I want to deploy a deployment. So let's suppose this is the Nginx deployment, a simpler one. First we'll see, then I will deploy one customized image as well. So yes, I don't want to deploy any other things. Default namespace, deployment name Nginx, sample demo deployment, demo deployment. Sorry. Okay, I just wanted to deploy it in default namespace. So this is correct. Here, you just need to choose the cluster in which I want to deploy. And then after click on continue. Here, yes, I want to expose this particular application via load balancer kind of service. So in Kubernetes, we have three kinds of services, right? But I want to use this particular service from my browser itself. That's why I am utilizing load balancer kind of service. Just click on deploy. So after few seconds, you will see that this particular workload is deployed in your cluster, which is present in AWS, but this deployment we have done from Google Cloud, not from AWS. So in this way, you can deploy, you can manage your cluster from one single plane, that is your Google Cloud. You no need to go to AWS, you don't need to go for Azure, you just need to go here and manage your workloads across the platform. So this is how you can So this is up and running. So here you can see this is the endpoint. One interesting thing here, if you see here, so whenever you deploy any service inside your AWS EKS cluster, you will see this kind of URL, which is like elb.amazonaws.com. So it is still utilizing resources from AWS, but it is deployed from Google Cloud. So this is the catch. So if I just click enter, so here you can see Nginx default page is here. And if I just go to my AWS environment, and I think I just need to refresh this page, here you can see our Nginx demo deployment service is also here. And if I just go to workloads, go to pods, here you can see 3 pods are running. And same as I can able to see here in my Google Cloud. So this is how you can able to manage your clusters, which is present in different cloud platforms from a single plane, which is Google Cloud. So let's deploy one more workload, which is customized image. Here we just use the sample one. So let's go to the workloads, click on deploy, and also you can able to connect to your cluster uh, via gcloud commands, not using your AWS credentials. You just need to run one AWS GCP command, gcloud command, the way you access your GK cluster, and you can able to manage your clusters, which is AWS cluster. So if I just click on new image, click on container. Okay, this is my customized image which I have created. So click on done. Yes. Uh, Deployment name is portfolio. So this is my sample portfolio application. Yes, I want to deploy it in default namespace itself. Cluster is my AWS cluster. Click on create. Yes, I want to expose this application via port 80. Yeah. After a few minutes, this will be up and we'll see the same thing for this particular deployment. And this is how you can manage your AWS cluster from Google Cloud. And you can able to see the matrices, what is happening behind the scene, and other details. So here you can see. But if I want, if I deploy any workload in Google Cloud, that will leverage Google Cloud resources. So this is the link. If I just click here, okay, it will take some few seconds to be to run this particular thing. So let's see. Meanwhile, just refresh this page. Okay, here you can see 3 replicas of our portfolio deployment is now active. And if I just go to networking section, if I just go to services, here you can see portfolio services present here. If I just click here, this is the same URL which is present here. uh, for the validation purpose, I just copy and paste it. Okay, I'm just copying pasting it. Copy, go here, control F, and here you can see com. Just hold on, I think might be there are some https written over there. Okay, just hold on. Hmm. ED0. Okay, just hold on, let me check. This is related to portfolio service. Okay, this is the Nginx one. This is the portfolio service. If I click, yeah. So this is the same URL. Let's see the last few numbers. Okay, and if I go here and just hold on. If I just go to resources, networking stuffs, services, load balancer kind of service, and control F. So same URL we have, right? Which is present in this particular environment. So let's access from here. Okay, so if I just click here, it is not showing anything because this is, I think, running on HTTPS, and we are exposing our application via HTTP. Ta-da! So this is how you can manage your cluster. You can deploy your clusters or manage your workloads across the platform using Google Cloud Anthos. So if you want to explore more, I highly suggest go with these blogs. Also, I have created some videos on our channel called Guys in the Cloud. So I highly recommend go with these tutorials where I have created some Terraform code in which I have explained how you can set up Anthos clusters on AWS and how you can leverage the same use cases which I have shown here. So yeah, this is all from my end. Uh, if you have anything in your mind, then please, I'm open for Q&A.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you, Abhishek.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek, for the nice session actually. So, in this session, you shown that how to deploy from Google Cloud to the AWS, am I right?
Yeah.
Similarly, if you want to do scaling and all, right, for example, scaling in one machine, and if we can able to get that the monitoring logs and other things, actually, those kind of things like cloud monitoring, these things that can be integrated, is it?
Yes. So basically, whenever you deploy, so basically what happens when you deploy Anthos cluster, which is fully managed Kubernetes offering from Google Cloud, that particular offering, if you deploy in different cloud platform, then it is all handled by Google itself. You just need to provide some parameters that this is the auto scaling parameter I want to enforce in my cluster. All things are handled by Google itself. So there is no need to think about auto scaling, no need to think about integrating monitoring and logging solutions to it. All things are already integrated using Google Cloud Anthos.
But you can see the monitoring part actually. All the services are up and running. Am I right? The instances
Yes,
that you
yes.
can see in the not in the AWS console. That you can see only in the
No, no, you
uh,
can able to see here, no?
both the
So
consoles
let's
actually. Right. Right.
yes,
Right.
yes. So the way you see your EKS cluster, okay, in the
Right.
same manner you can able to see, but this is one more flexibility that you can able to manage. You can able to see what is happening behind the scene across the platform from Google Cloud itself. You have the same flexibility whatever you have currently. This is the add-on.
So that means from both cloud providers, you can able to get the logs. Am I right? Instance logs and
Yes,
everything. Correct.
yes, yes, yes.
And it
They
is
can
good.
able to live.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
But most of the cases, what happens now, we want a unified monitoring solution. We want a unified observability. So that's why they have integrated this particular feature.
Right. Right.